morning service here at Salt and Lake Christian Church. The story I will be telling you all this morning is about the missionary John, excuse me, brain. The story I will be telling you all this morning. Goodness, I am so sorry. My brain just had a delete file. I don't know why, but his last name just poofed out of my head.
Happens to me frequently.
I have it right here. Here we are. Patton. I don't know why. I was thinking about it 2 minutes ago and it's gone. Sorry. John G. Patton. He was born in 1824 in Scotland to two loving parents who both loved the Lord very earnestly. And they raised John to also love the Lord as well as the rest of his siblings. As a young man, he felt the call to the mission field, and this made his parents very proud of him. As he worked his way through the ministry to get the opportunity to be a missionary and go into the field, he ended up meeting his first wife, a woman named Mary, who also felt the calling to be a missionary. And together, they felt led to go to the New Hebrides Islands off the coast of Australia in the South Pacific Ocean. These islands consisted of around 30 main islands as well as 70 smaller islands, and they were full of warring cannibalistic tribes, virtually untouched by outsiders. However, this did not dissuade John. In fact, this is a big part of why he wanted to go there. His heart went out to these tribal peoples that had never heard the word of the Lord, the gospel message. And so, him and his wife went to the New Hebrides Islands, and they began their mission work. At this time, his wife was pregnant, and just a few months after getting to the islands, she gave birth to their first son. Unfortunately, just a couple weeks after giving birth, she fell ill and passed away. And their infant son, only a couple weeks after, followed her. And this struggle, as you can imagine, hurt John deeply. However, he didn't let it stop his work. He didn't leave or flee or quit. Instead, he kind of doubled down in his missionary work. He continued to spread the gospel to these dangerous people. One such story, he was in a hut with a fellow missionary friend where they were living on this island. And in the middle of the night, their dog started barking and freaking out outside of their hut. And when they got up to see what had happened, they had already been surrounded, and the fence around their hut had been set on fire. And the two men stayed in the hut and began earnestly praying to God for salvation from this danger. And as they were praying, a great wind came down and it blew the fires away from their hut. And at the same time, a rain began to fall to put the fires out. And these tribal cannibals that had them surrounded saw this and were terrified and saying that their God is fighting for them. And they all fled and left the men alone. There are several other examples like that one during his mission work. John, despite the dangers that he faced and the struggles that he certainly faced, never let it really bring him down too much. In fact, it grew him closer to God. And he continued to spread the gospel to the peoples of the New Hebrides Islands. He ended up beginning to learn their language, one of the greatest barriers in spreading the gospel to these people. And as he learned it, he began creating a written version of it for them. He formed an alphabet in their language so that he could translate the New Testament for them. And it was basically his life's work to create this translation of the New Testament in these tribal languages so that they could pass it around and witness to each other. John spent 30 years of his life in this ministry, missionary to these cannibal tribes of the New Hebrides Islands. And at the end of his life, he died in 1907, just a year after his second wife, who he had multiple children with his second wife. God blessed him quite a bit, despite the trials that he had to face while he was younger. At the end of his life, the New Hebrides Islands were full of Christians, largely in part to his work. And to this day, many of those islands, such as Papua New Guinea, still have a large Christian influence. So thank you. Let's bring the music up.